My name is Rhapsody and welcome back to SpellRogue. In the last episode, we played Hazel and had one hell of a time.
Let's have it then.
In this episode, we're going to play Azar and do the same. So we did the D loadout last episode. We'll cycle back around to A at this point, which means we are finally back on an Azar build that wants to roll a bunch of low die and then use those low die into its spells. We can see this in Flame Hunger. The signature spell is a 3 countdown, 2 times a turn, roll 2 1-2s. Then there's a Brimstone, defensive spell, accepts a 1 to a 2, has 4 charges, and you gain 1 block for each charge left when you use it. And then finally Blaze, 6 countdown, 2 times a turn, deal 4 damage, increase the damage by 2 for each dice spent. This is a significant sub-theme in Azar. Although, point well made, game. I need to kill some enemies with, what's the word I'm looking for here? Banefire. There we go, thank you. Found it in the end. Harmful 2s. On a 2 rolled, receive 2 damage. No, thank you. I'm going to be intentionally trying to low roll, and Flame Hunger rolls 2s, and I would also just possibly roll enough 2s that I will take enough damage that I will die. Not keen. 4th dice rolled each turn receives wound. That's much more manageable. It's not even every 4th dice, it's every the 4th dice each turn. Oh no. The only way to get 6 more modified here is to take turn 2 Rupture, 30% less gold from combat, 1 less potion slot, and every 5th dice rolled receives Vex. I'm happy having every 5th dice rolled receive Vex. I want low die. I can't take unwieldiness. I don't see how this is a thing that you can do. Frankly, destroy random dice when you have more than 3. No. I don't see myself taking that this series. Harmful 2s, also really not sure the positioning for that, so I guess it's good that I can take all of the other ones. So all our enemies are going to start with 2 power. On an enemy death, they receive 10, I receive 10 weak. I get every 4th dice rolled each turn receives wound. Every 5th dice rolled at all receives Vex. On turn 2, we receive 2 Rupture, we have 1 less potion slot, and 30% less gold from combat. Choose an artifact. Hymn Book. On enemy death, also gain 2 power. Nice. Sunweave Cloak. Hello! On health loss, gain a Banefire. And then the Emberstone Ring. On turn 1, roll 3 1s. Turn 1, roll 3 1s. That'd be sick as hell. Oh my god, how nasty. How incredible. I'm taking the Banefire Cloak. I wanna get it going. There is no path here with 2 elites. However, there is a path with a very late shop. I'll take that one. Enemy already has 2 power, but greedily they're trying to get more. One damage gives us 1 Banefire, but that will also reduce at the end of the round by 1. I do want to try and use the Banefire sub-theme, I just don't know if we're going to be able. Enemies attacking for 9. A wound 1 and a wound 2 both only deal 1 damage to us, so I don't have to worry about changing that one there. I'm going to defend for the full 9. And then send one blaze out for 14 damage to the enemy, and then we'll set up the next one. Unfortunately, I'm not capable of just killing the enemy with the Banefire this turn. As much as I would have liked. I only need to kill 10 enemies with Banefire. But unless I put a health loss sub-theme into this deck, I'm not going to generate much Banefire off of Sunweed. Well... Gathering Flames? Sure. Hello, put ones in new game power? Sure. Vindictive Strike. On health loss, -5 to its countdown. I do get a wound die every turn. That's damage. That you don't turn that down. That's gas, baby. I might even upgrade it to do additional damage really early on here. So I only have to block twice this turn. Gain some Banefire for doing so. We'll invest in our Blaze. Pop a 4 in Vindictive Strike, cast a Blaze for 14 to the enemy, and then follow up with a Vindictive Strike for another 12. Ease. Gold Smokescreen. Let's see that Smokescreen. Fragmentize Flamestorm and Infused Shield. Hello! So Infused Shield, this is also really good. It takes a 1 to a 3, gives you 3 block, but if you give it a 3, it'll roll a 1 to a 2. It's also Fragmentize. Take a 2 or a 3 and split it into 1s. That's especially good for Blaze. And Flamestorm. I'll take Fragmentize. Fragmentize, just good, it's a good spell. Ooh, this is a really early opportunity to pick up Dark Arts. We don't get Portentum, rather. Each turn apply Portent to a random spell. If I play that spell first, I get a power. Dark Arts. Apply 2 Rupture. Increase Rupture by 2 this combat. Oh. Do I want to spend the money on that? Because I could also take the Blast Pot, and that'll help me get through a fight. And I'll have 20 more gold to use at the Elite. Sorry, the Elite, the shop. But also I could just sell Dark Arts if I really wanted to do that. Dark Arts also needs a lot of power put in it. I'm not really capable of utilizing that right now. I'm gonna take the Blast Pot. It's exclusively a safety decision right there. Let's get the Vindictive Strike to lose 5 from its countdown when I lose health. Still looking for health loss as a sub-theme in this deck somewhere. Got a lot of payoff for it, but I don't have a lot of support for it. 9, oh, I'm gonna have to triple defend this turn. And I've got to do 10 damage to the enemy, otherwise they're gonna spawn a Shambler. Unless I use my Blast Pod in this fight. Actually feels quite likely. So Vindictive Strike will cast as soon as my wound die is used. Fragmentize that wound die, actually. Oh, that's so cool. And now I'm gonna use just a little bit more wound die. Doing 12 damage to the enemy. Banefire is going to take the enemy out this turn. That's my first Banefire kill. Woo! As it turns out, I get a potion back after the end of the fight as well. Weakness gas. Yes, that's probably more impactful right now than Blast Pot for us. Is that the truth? I'm about to go to an elite fight. Blast Pot's the ability to push through that. Look at the spells. Fickle Barrier. Hello. Fickle Barrier now has an additional charge as of the most recent patch. Ashen Plating. Eventually it's good. But Fickle Barrier takes a 2, gives you 4 block. There's an upgrade where if you have 50% health or less, it will also heal 2 health for you. Kinda wanna take that. Skip the weakness gas. That seems significantly better than Brimstone for us. Don't all attack on turn 1. Yeah, just one of you attacking is more than fine. They do want to fragmentize this 3 down. Oh, I'm actually going to be short on taking out the Living Embers. Never mind. Fine. You're dying right now. And then I'll just start pre-investing in Blaze. Flame Hunger does get a 2 for us, and that 2 does wound us. That's going to make this easy. Take out the frontliner with 12, and then totally forget that I was going to have to follow up with even more defense somehow. I forgot that I was going to get weakened by doing this. Oops. Thankfully, at the end of all of this, we're still only taking 1 damage for it. There is a world in which I let Vindictive Strike hit the enemy. I just need to roll a wound, and then use that wound in something. In fact, if I put it in Vindictive Strike, enemy gets hit, and then Banefire kills him. Second Banefire kill. Health loss. Wounds the next die roll. Good. Reclamation. Gain 7 block for 10 countdown. On health loss, increase block by 1 this combat. Great. And hurt. Deal damage, 4 to a 6, and wound the next die that's rolled. I'm gonna take Reclamation. Maybe sub it in for Fickle Barrier even. Time to hit up shop. Wild Blaze Orb, hello. Let's look at our other options first. Rabbit's Foot, every 3rd turn, roll a die. There's also the Plague Pestle. On turn 1, gain Foxbringer. And then Vengeful Dagger. When attacked by an enemy, gain Fury. Wild Blaze Orb. Deal 4 damage to a random enemy. Hit once for each dice spent. If I drop Blaze and instead took Wild Blaze Orb, I could also afford Plague Pestle, but not Vengeful Dagger. Wild Blaze Orb or Vengeful Dagger? Well, Vengeful Dagger is eventually going to be triggered by Vindictive Strike anyway. Alright, Elite Battle. I'd love another shard. Ooh, we get to do big damage on turn 1. I love to do big damage. Please. I want a Wounded 2 because that helps me trigger Vindictive Strike for free. Let's invest a 6 in Reclamation, getting ready for the damage that's coming out next turn. And I'll also invest a 1 in it. And then, Wild Blaze Orb, Wild Blaze Orb, Wild Blaze Orb, Wild Blaze Orb. This is going to hit the enemy for 16 damage and hit them for 4 pox. 3 of those pox will just deal 10 damage. So that's 26 damage and leaves them with 1 pox. That's a good turn. Ooh, all my die are bad this turn. That's great. We'll roll some additional die. Okay. Vindictive Strike will cast for 12 to the enemy as well as 1 pox, and then Wild Blaze will carry 4 more pox. So that's 20 damage, plus 12, plus another 16. Yeah, okay, we can take the enemy out as long as I invest all of these into the Wild Blaze Orb. That triggers Vindictive Strike. And then it triggers pox twice. Phlogiston! Hello! On a 3 to a 6, gain 3 Banefire. Oh, I can even accept even lower die. I'm taking it. And then turn 1, gain 5 Banefire from the Bottle of Fire. I don't think I can take the shard over that. I need Bane. That's the whole thing I'm trying to do. Man, I really want to put Phlogiston in this build. I just don't see where it goes. And at this sanctuary, I don't have anything I want to disenchant right now. I'll just take 10 health and then go into the boss fight. Realistically, Vindictive Strike can get out of this build soon. That would be the substitution to occur. Ah, the 2 is wounded. That's the best option. 5s are too high to just roll down into other values here. I'm going to pop that in Reclamation, just get it ready for a later turn. Because again, I am going to need it at some point. Especially because I'm hitting a random enemy each turn with the Wild Blaze. Seems especially appropriate to make sure that... oh, nice. To make sure that I utilize the extra damage on the Mother of Flames on the turn that it's available. This one is going to be spent in Wild Blaze Orb no matter what. I can just let that happen. Realistically, Wild Blaze Orb is not going to kill the frontliner here. Could it even theoretically? I think so. I'm going to give it a chance. Oh, the final one didn't deal enough damage. Okay, I do get to at least reduce the incoming damage this turn. And as soon as I end this turn, I'll be taking the enemy out with Banefire. Banefire is by necessity a slow build. You can't just have Banefire, I don't think. At least not with the tools that I've seen so far. Because it's only one attack per turn, ultimately. Health, back to full health, gain some money, another shard, boss artifacts. Each turn, receive 3 weak. That'll really hurt me. Ether Weave, roll an Ether on turn 1. That is often going to be sad because it'll hurt the Wild Blaze Orb casts. Dreadstone, roll an additional dice each turn. On enemy deaths, receive 2 damage. That'll give me the ability to push through some enemies. It's just, I also don't want to be taking additional damage because I'm also pretty fragile, you see. Currently, I feel like Vindictive Strike is probably needed to help me push through fights. Fragmentize being able to hit a 5 would be significant. That would give us a lot more resources. That said, it also giving us power would be wild for the sake of Wild Blaze Orb. I'll take the power. Shop's too early on the left-hand side here. Oh, and there's 2 of them. Nasty, nasty. Only holding a single spell at the moment. I'd only have 1 additional spell by the time I get there. No, I'll just go to this one and then take an elite fight afterwards. Please give me Vitality and then roll a wound die. Please give me the ritual for Vitality and roll a wound die. This is the build for that. Woof. Big incoming damage this turn. Hey, a 5! God, that would have been great to fragmentize. Let's go in Flame Hunger. I am not blocking for as much as I would like. But at least I'm going to vindictively strike the enemy 2 times this turn. Yikes! I need some weakness application. It's clear that Reclamation is not going to grow fast enough to actually be my primary defense. I need some healing as well. Cauterize. On a 3 to a 6, gain 12 block. Wound the next dice roll. That's pretty... Thank you? It's kinda exactly what we needed, to be frank. I really want to sub out Vindictive Strike. It's going to be a while before I can really make that decision, though. Huh! Lifelock! Gain a Vitality! Roll a wound die! So Vitality says, on health loss, heal 1 health. So every second turn, all of the wounds I take are also going to heal me back, but they will still trigger. That's incredible. Almost feel like I'm supposed to take Fragmentize off the board right now. Get Vindictive Strike back out there. Honestly, maybe it's get rid of Flame Hunger for Fragmentize. Hello, Grubs! Barbed Grubs. They're going to be looking to gain Thorns, which is going to make them harder and harder to hit. Oh, that's so good. I'd love to roll a Wounded 3 next turn when I can just heal back up from it. I mean, I should still use it this turn, frankly. Unfortunately, the remaining Wildblaze Orbs don't do damage. I should have remembered to use Wildblaze first. Oops. Oh, I'm so keen. Oh, it's wounded. Oh, they're all wounded. Gain of Vitality. On health loss, heal 1 health. Oh. Cauterize to my heart's delight. I'll Fragmentize, which is actually what I intended to do. Then let's invest in a Wildblaze Orb. Whilst doing so, we'll kill the frontline target, making it impossible to do any damage with the Wildblaze Orb. What? Banefire triggers Thorns. Oh, I didn't want that to be the case. It's a big Cauterize and then hit him with a Wildblaze Orb and that'll take you out. So yeah, Vitality is not going to heal me. It will stem the flow of blood loss though. You know what else won't heal us? Burning both ends. Sun Shield. X block, 1 Radiant. Phoenix Blast. If weak is on the target, roll a die after you roll it. Nah. Burning both ends still seems like the best tool here. If I did that, I could drop Wildblaze Orb from this build. But then I also don't know where I'm getting all the health that I'm supposed to be running this build from. I'm going to take Burning Both Ends because it's theoretical I could sub that into the build later and still be happy about it. Hit Sanctuary. As much as I want to disenchant a spell to gain max HP here, I recognize that I have an elite coming up. Ouch. Didn't want to have to do that, but gotta play realistically. Okay. Cauterize with this 4. And in fact, if I just Vindictive Strike twice, the enemy gets taken out by our Banefire. I still need that to happen sometimes. On 2s and 4s, the enemy gets stronger here. I do roll a single 2, unfortunately. And I roll a 4. Fragmentize this 3 down now that I have life lock. Unfortunate. Wait. The Banefire kill from last turn. It says, at the end of turn. The Banefire kill from last turn has given me 10 weak, which persists to this turn. I have a single question, and my question is, Thankfully, I get to defend reasonably via Reclamation, growing huge off of all of the health loss. Reclamation does need an additional... because I do a lot of health loss triggers, it does need to grow faster. Let's cauterize, and then... fragmentize out a bunch of 1s. Those 1s can all go into Wild Blaze Orb, and in doing so, they will take the enemy out in the meantime. Actually, I'll let the enemy die to the Banefire. There's Chaotic Moment, but it's up against Sap Life Force. Rude. Chaotic Moment is the ability to actually prevent a huge amount of incoming damage via weak distribution across enemies, and then Sap Life Force says, deal 6 damage, gain health equal to the unblocked damage dealt. And I do have a way to gain power in my build. It can upgrade to hit all of them. I'm gonna take Sap Life Force. And I think it's time to sub that in instead of Wild Blaze Orb here. Head to a shop. Flame Surge only takes 2 2s and has 2 charges per turn. You gain a Surge, and then you also gain 2 block for each charge left. So that weakens all enemies on your behalf. Roll 10 die, deal 7 damage to a random enemy with the Overcharge Crystal. There's also Death Mask for each 3 attack spells cast in a single turn. Apply 1 weak to all enemies. Kind of minimal, honestly. And Amulets. Every 3rd turn, split a random dice in 2. That is actually really good for us. We do like splitting die. I don't think I need Phlogiston for Banefire at this point. I think my self-damaging build provides that. I honestly don't want to get rid of Wild Blaze Orb. I want to leave myself capable of subbing back into it after I get more shards. Skip. And speaking of getting more shards, let's do that. Did it have to be this fight? Oh, this is the worst one. This is the worst one. Okay. 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 Dodge is not going to be especially helpful here. I can fragmentize that too, and then... what, am I going to cauterize with the full 6? I guess so. I should invest in Sap Life Force being castable. And in having Reclamation available next turn. Sap Life Force is now castable with a single 6. Vindictive Strike is going to cast again at the end of this turn. Reclamation might be important defense next turn. It really depends on what I roll. Oh, they're all attacking. Gain a vitality, roll a wound die. One of these gets fragmented. Also have the gain 3 block from Cauterize. Sap Life Force will automatically cast Vindictive Strike. That's fine. I cast Sap Life Force on the secondary target. I'm going to gain 11 health back. And then the frontline target is now vulnerable to me simply using the rest of these wounds to defend. So if I put, say, a single wound into Reclamation, and then a single wound into Sap Life Force, frontline enemy dies. I'm weakened to the point that I'm no longer doing any damage this round, but I can invest another 4 into Reclamation, fully defending myself. And then another 1 into changing its value. I love when we're getting all these wound dice. It's so good. Yeah. I do really want to sap more life force on the back line. We'll gain 12 health from you. And that sets us up better for a Vindictive Strike. And I don't need to take any more damage right now. In fact, it's possible I can end this fight without taking any more. Let's try and do that. Well, unless we heal at the same rate as we deal our damage, in which case it's fine. Reclamation. And the enemy is going to die to our Banefire at the end of the turn. All right. Here's the gold. Hurt, Iron Guard, and Suspension. None of these make sense for us, and I just came from a shop, if I recall correctly, so it's reroll time. Extract. Hello! Hello! There's also Conflagration, which is for the Wild Blaze build if I wanted to go back to that, but I'm not going to. Extract, thank you. Hello! Astral Visor. Turn 1, add a charge to a random spell 4 times. Being able to cauterize or fragmentize more than once on turn 1 is pretty sick. But I'm at a very severe deficiency of shards, and it's hurting. Oh. Cauterize, you have 50% health or less. Heal for health. Cool. Reclamation, I do want you to grow faster. Sap Life Force, I do want you to hit all targets. And I do want to get Extract into the build. I think at the moment, hit all targets from Sap Life Force is probably a much more impactful upgrade. That's going to be relevant damage next floor, but also it will be extremely relevant healing. Let's start off with a Cauterize for 12 defense, Fragmentize for 2 power and 3 ones. And I think I'm just going to use this to try and preload Sap Life Force for a later turn. When I take damage this turn, we'll also deal some damage back to the frontline enemy Imp Hatchling. This is definitely the turn for the first Sap Life Force. We'll gain additional power before doing it. And then Sap Life Force for 10 damage to all of the enemies. Oh, what? After enemy death, you gain 10 weak. Sap Life Force is going to deal 10 damage to the front enemy, killing it. And then it will decrease the amount of damage it's doing to the following up units. Why? This says deal 10 damage to all enemies. When I cast it, it should deal 10 damage to all enemies. This is similar to the thing that I mentioned before of some enemies, like, you know, for instance, if this Imp Hatchling was giving power to a different unit, have the ability to change the intent system, the things that the game is giving you as guide rails so that you can make sense of the game and navigate it comfortably. These need to be reliable. Similarly, what your spell says it does should be what it does. Even if there is this intent system that also shows the resolution phase, that also exists if I try and end my turn. I don't think that's enough. I don't think that covers it. It should deal damage to all the targets at the same time. Take out the next one still. And I'll just sap more life force off of you next turn. There we are. Unfortunately, Vindictive Strike would not be enough for the kill right now. I'm going to give the enemy mark so that it is... Wait, no. No, Banefire would kill them after this, that's fine. I'll take a second smoke screen over the branding tonic. Demean. Apply 7 weak to the front opponent. Wound the next dice rolled. 11 weak with an upgrade. Ooh. Honestly, yeah, that's weak, and it's in the wound build. I like it. I can definitely afford to disenchant something now, and it's time to get rid of the Wildblaze Orb. That build is long past. And in this boss battle, am I going to need to change anything? Demean could certainly be useful. Reclamation will eventually be ridiculous. Cauterize is good dodge, a good block early. Extract is not going to be very relevant. So most of my damage in this fight is going to be dealt by a Vindictive Strike. I guess so. Eventually I will have a lot of power. The thing is, that's going to mean I can only deal my damage to the frontline target, which means that at some point I'm going to have the backline target hitting just me. Oh, this is a problem. Because the backline target is going to be... if I can only hit the frontline target, obviously I'm going to be taking one of them out before the other one, and the other one is going to be very, very healthy, which it starts doing triple attacks, so having Weaken with Demean seems like it might be much more valuable than Cauterize at that point. But only at that point. Perhaps it's Sap Life Force I don't want in this build right now. Only 2 charges throughout the fight. Yeah, I'll take the demean. I think I need it. Let's go into the boss battle. Cool. Okay. Second thing. Pox Bringer says on applied attack, apply 1 Pox. Banefire deals 5 damage to the front enemy at the end of the turn and then reduces itself by 1. I wouldn't typically argue that Banefire is an attack. However, if Banefire triggers on Thorns, you get hit. And Thorns say, when attacked, retaliate for damage. Which means that Banefire is being considered an attack unless it's for the sake of applying Pox via Poxbringer, or I can only imagine all of the other on-attack triggers. So this says on applied attack. It would be true if it said on attack from spell or something like that, but it doesn't. I feel like I'm coming off really salty right now, and I guess I am a little. I really, really like this game. And it's worth noting, it is in early access. They are seeking the input of the community for balance, etc. things. I would like this to be a thing that is considered. The fact that the intent system is capable of changing, and the fact that there are keywords that are inconsistent. Alternatively, if you happen to know the inconsistency that I am missing here, I would love to know that as well. Yeah, I just want to lose as much health as possible this turn, as it will help increase the effect of Reclamation very quickly. Speaking of, though, Cauterize for some defense before it comes around. I mean, if I really wanted to, I can invest in Reclamation right now. Like, what else am I going to invest in? Oh, but now I'm not taking damage. So instead, I will get Reclamation 1 point off casting and Demean 1 die off casting. Those snares are going to be annoying. When used this turn. I'm not going to use it this turn, but I will set up usages for later turns. So yeah, I will actually avoid taking that snare, thank you. Next turn, all die lose 2 value. Wow, I roll really well, actually. Frontline enemy is going to be attacking this turn. I can demean you, as well as Cauterize. My next 2 dice rolled are both wounded. And then if I pop this 2 into Reclamation, I hit the enemy with Vindictive Strike. I can then pop a Vex 2 into Reclamation so that I get a Wounded 3 for Fragmentize, allowing us to get a lot more health loss triggers going off this turn, including all of the available Vindictive Strikes. I even changed the enemy back to their darkness side. they take the turn to give themselves power and change back to the light side. Let's gain some power this turn via Fragmentize. I'm also going to Cauterize. I start triggering the snare if I invest anything in anything at this point. I could trigger it once. Pop a 4 into Reclamation. It'll change the state of the Shadow Fire Twin at the front. As well as apply 1 mark to us. No enemy is attacking this turn, so I don't have to actually take any damage to that mark. Roll Vitality, roll Wound rather, and gain Vitality. Let's Fragmentize that 3. God, I love doing that. Definitely go for the big Reclamation. And then the final one will take you out as well as weaken me. And now we've got a Shadowfire Twin that is stunned. Also pre-prepared to mean, and then I will Cauterize, and that's so that I roll an additional wound die next turn. Do I want to do that? No, I'm not gonna. Enemy's attacking for 26 by 4. Sorry, not by 4, and gaining 4 power. 26 by 4 would be a nightmare. Fragmentize this too. Reclamation blocks for 27 by itself at this point, and I haven't even upgraded it to get additional block per health loss. Oh, now you're doing a multi-attack, I see, and trying to snare my spells. Well, I'm gonna demean you. Didn't like that, did you? Dealing another 22 damage this turn. Honestly, I really do need to put my foot on the gas. As well as keep Reclamation ready to go. Cauterize is now significantly outmoded by Reclamation, of course. Oh, our dice are too high. Our wound dice are too high. No, I'm not going to be able to Fragmentize. Let's cast a Vindictive Strike by using our wound die in Reclamation. I'm also going to demean the enemy. And then I'll cast another Vindictive Strike, in fact, by putting a Wound 5 Vindictive in it. And then Banefire is ready to take him out. I should defend, but then watch that happen. I'm not actually certain how additional spells unlocked in here, other than Sap Life Force, so that I have the ability to upkeep in the middle of fights. I don't know how it really affects us at this point. I don't know if I need it, even. Shrunken Mana Stone. On odd turns, roll an odd value die. There's also Cricket Dice. Roll an extra die each turn, but 6s lose a value. I don't really care about 6s, except for the fact that they are a lot in Reclamation and Demean. And then Amulet of Sacrifice. Roll an additional die each turn. Each turn receive 1 sap. The thing is, 1 sap, when I'm casting 1 block spell a turn, is 1 less block. That's nothing. I absolutely need the additional space for Sap Life Force. Probably don't need Extract now that I have Sap Life Force, frankly. There's no path with a late shop and 2 elites. It's either elites or shop. We'll see what I feel like I should go to by the time we get there. I suspect it'll be the shop. I'd love to get the Dilapidated Crown. Every second time you lose health, gain 1 power. That would be ridiculous. Fragmentize this 3. Looking for a 5 in Cauterize for the additional block. I'm not going to be able to Vindictive Strike this turn. In fact, I'm exactly 1 short. That's okay. Drop another Reclamation on the field. Annoyingly, the first thing I cast there hits the front enemy, and now I'm not going to be able to Sap Life Force for anything this turn. Let's also invest a big 5 in that. A 3 as well. More block, please. And I'll even Sap Life Force 1 more time at the end of the turn. Perfect. Or rather, invest in sapping Life Force in the future. Now it's our time to shine. Right, of course. It killed an enemy. Our Bane Fire is actually kind of hurting us at this point. The reality of the situation is, if Sap Life Force is going to be like this, I might actually have to sell it and then put Extract in the build instead. Which is not what I want to do. Because my only other spell only ever hits the frontline target, so what? Am I looking to get really, really powerful while all of my enemies still have all of their health available? So that I can finally Sap Life Force? Or do I wait for an enemy to die before I use the AoE attack? None of that seems right to me. And all I need to do is defend. And watch the enemy die to the Banefire. Split target die in 2. Wildblaze Orb is back. Hemorrhage and Focused Heat. Apply 1 weak for each charge left. I'll take Focused Heat. I'm not going to use it. then I want to veer over to the right quickly here to get our ritual. Gain spell echo every 3rd turn. So that would be the ability to like double cast Sap Life Force or something like that, but that's also not really going to be good. +3 value to all dice. Realistically, that's just the ability to get Reclamation out, but that's turn 3. By the time we are at that turn, I'm already doing pretty well. Enchant 2 random dice with Manifold, giving them double value in countdown sockets and X effects. Unfortunately, that would also override Wound on die, and I don't want to override Wound on die. I suspect I reroll here. Add 1 charge to countdown spell, target spell rather, or -7 countdown to a target spell. -7 countdown to a target spell makes it much easier to cast Reclamation on turn 2, Extract on turn 2 if I really want to. Astral Attunement, giving an additional charge to Fragmentize every 2nd turn. Also feels pretty good. I'm going to take the red candle though. I've got 1 fight and then 1 elite fight before I sub out. Before I even have the first possible opportunity, rather, to sub out Sap Life Force for Extract. Incoming damage this turn. Ooh, yeah, split the Vex die, eh? Woof. Cauterized 6 is going to be a bit of a nightmare for us, but I should still invest it into Reclamation. And then another 4 to finish Reclamation. I'm also going to start working on the next Reclamation, frankly. Hang on. Oh no, it was Vindictive Strike hitting the enemy that gave it a pox. It wasn't Banefire. That would have been really awkward. Gain Vitality and roll a wound die, and then I split a 3 with a fragment. Ooh, baby. Probably gonna sap Life Force when the other units are out, rather. Let's cauterize and then demean the enemy here. Two, 3, and then 4 gets Reclamation off, and we are now well defended. And in fact, I'm just gonna use the candle to bake Sap Life Force for following turn. I'll use anything that advantages me this turn. And I'll invest in things, but the enemy is going to just take a hit at the end. Oh no, but if that happens at the end of the turn, due to the Banefire, I'll carry the weakness into the next turn. Right, did forget about that. So instead I will actually take you out right now. Summon your friends. Invest towards that next cast. My goal this turn is simply to cast Sap Life Force twice, without casting Vindictive Strike again. There we go, heal 14 off of each of you. I'll pop 2 6s into that. Throw the damage out on the field again. then I can happily invest these wounded ones. And then Banefire will finish you off at the end of this turn. I'll cauterize so that you don't respond with any damage. Falling Fire, Incendiary, and Incinerate. Nope. None of those are relevant to me. I'll take Incendiary and then move into an Elite Battle, the event afterwards, and shop. I really do want more shards. I really, really do want more shards, which means I would have to avoid the shop. Demean, having extra weak, that's pretty good because there is a multi-attack in the final fight that I do have to be wary of. Reclamation growing faster, admittedly, probably invalidates needing to worry about weak at all, ever. Pretty quickly. I'm so glad that I have Demean for this fight, though. I'm gonna do 30 damage to me on turn 1, how dare you? There we are, no damage. That seems a lot better. Work towards a reclamation as well. Gain a vitality, roll a wound die. I am more than happy to spawn all of the instabilities. That's never going to be a thing I really hold my turn around. I mean, I'm not going to cast Sap Life Force this turn, I guess. Drop 6 into Demean, and then the Vexed 6 into Reclamation. I'll lower the cost of Sap Life Force for when I do want to cast it, but that's still not going to be a get. And since I'm already well defended this turn, I'm not even going to worry about demeaning my enemy. I can instead leave that demean for a later turn when it might be more relevant. Like now. Also invest 3 into Sap Life Force and end my turn. Next turn, I'll Sap Life Force pretty happily. Roll a low wound die. No, not that low. That's too low. Single 6 into Cauterize, and then this 4 into Sap Life Force. Perfect. I'm also going to put another 12 into Sap Life Force. And end my turn watching the enemy die of Banefire. I'm not rolling a huge amount of 6s. So I'm not going to complete that quest here, I don't imagine. Crescendo, each turn, lower its countdown by 2. Or 6 after the upgrade. Charcoal Backdraft, do 2 damage and apply 2 Rupture to all enemies. Hurt, wound the next die. I'll take Crescendo. Dark Heart. Roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 in that order to apply 2 mark to all enemies. I want to take the shard. I really, really, really do need some additional shards, just for the sake of things like, you know, Reclamation growing twice as fast. Huge. Lose Amulet of Sacrifice. That's a die each turn for a shard. No, thank you. Disenchant Cauterize. Do I think I can get away without that? Get 75 gold. There's a shop in a couple spaces, you see. I could also get Grim Right. Apply 4 mute to another spell. Gain 2 power and 1 fortify for doing so. That's not especially relevant to us. Yeah, I can get rid of Cauterize. It's pretty good for our defense on turn 1, but I should be able to avoid using it on turn 1 and just focus on Demean and Reclamation and then heal back up the effect of it afterwards with Sap Life Force. That does make the shop much more appealing than the elite battle now. Helmet of Composure. Oh, there's Cauterize again. Cool, it's 31. It's even cheaper than it was previously. Helmet of Composure on turn 3, gain 4 power. Not bad. Hammer of Mana. Each turn, -1 countdown to all spells. That's also pretty good. And then Protective Feather on turn 1, gain 3 barrier. That's also pretty good. All right. Realistically, I think if I sold Sap Life Force to gain an additional gain its shard here. But Extractor's not going to be useful in the final fight. It's just damage in the final fight. But my defense will already be high enough in that final fight as well. But a heal in that mid-final fight could be really useful. Ultimately, this is how many spells can I sell? And in a way, it's whether or not I can sell 5. I don't think I can sell 5 of them. Which means I don't think I'm getting all of these artifacts. Helmet of Composure. 4 power on turn 3. I really like that. Power of Mana, -1 countdown to all spells each turn. That does make Demean much more easily castable. In fact, it makes all of my spells much more easily castable. I don't get the Protective Barrier, but that's only really relevant at the start of the fight. Double Smokescreen are pretty good things to have going on when I'm going as deep as I am. Let's sell some spells. Focus Tea, Flame Hunger, Incendiary. Those are all going. I could grab Cauterize back. This feels like Reclamation is always going to outmode it. So what, I take money with me right now? Yeah, I guess I do. Because the event could find that relevant. Did the 3 have to be the Vexed one? Well... actually, that's pretty good, I think. Let's invest the 5 into Reclamation and then the 4 into Vindictive Strike. No, it's not possible. I was thinking I could Vex, and then by Vexing, lower the die value of Wound enough to get it Fragmentizable, but that's using Fragmentize twice. which I can't do. I'm gonna wound the enemy with a demean here. We'll cast Reclamation. That'll give me the ability to fragmentize as well afterwards, so that I can gain the power, and then I guess I invest towards the next Reclamation again. I'll heal up with the Sap Life Force by the end of this. Why do those have to be the wounded die? Please. Wound 2 or 3. That's a 3! That's what I wanted to see, baby! Put that into Fragmentize. Realistically, I'm looking for as much Reclamation as I can pay for this turn. Pop a couple of 5s in there. That'll finish our defense for the turn. And I'll just pre-invest in a Sap Life Force for a later turn, as well as in a Crescendo. Don't even end up using Red Candle. That said, I definitely should. So, 14 health from Sap Life Force, thank you. And then 32 damage to the enemy. I'll block with Reclamation and then watch you die to Banefire. Gain some money, split potion that I can't really use, meteor detonation and infused shield here. I just got out of the shop. I reroll now. Chaotic Moment. Hello. It's far past the time for Chaotic Moment though. Channel Mana though. That's an easy way for me to actually generate some additional value on the field. Target spell gets -5 to its countdown for a single socket of 1. That's very usable. In fact, it might even be abusable. 150 gold for the shard. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Angrim, right? Move into the Sanctuary. Disenchant a spell. So this would be disenchanting Sap Life Force. In order to put Channel Mana in the build instead, as well as release the shard. These two auto-cast themselves at the very end of the turn. This is proactive defense, this is responsive defense. Or I guess in the other order. And Fragmentize creates the ability to channel mana into other things. This seems like a really good build. I've also got the 2 smoke screens if I desperately need to just get through. We did kill 10 enemies with Banefire. We haven't rolled enough 6s. We did retrieve another shard from a disenchanted spell, so I'm going to be unlocking at least 1 spell at the end of this. I will be dodging on turn 1. I'm still going to primarily focus on defense though, so it's possible that by the end of this I know that I don't need to. I'm currently on the hook to take 1 damage. I don't need to pop my smoke screen over that. So all of this is happening while I'm getting more powerful. Ah, I see. Now I need to demean you. Pop a 2 in Fragmentize. Opening some new spaces. This 6 goes into demean instantly. If I pop this 5 into Crescendo, I can then open Reclamation with the Vexed 2. And now channel mana into Reclamation in order to cast it for the sake of my defense, as well as give Vindictive Strike more. And then at the end of this turn, I'm also just going to invest 3 wounded 1s into Crescendo, which will get -2 to its countdown and then a -1 to its countdown as well from Hammer of Mana next turn, so it'll take Arcanax, or it'll hit Arcanax rather. And sure, I'll just get the 7 countdown on Reclamation as well. And now Reclamation is defending us for 23 a pop. Woof. I will open the Fragmentize, because that's still gain power, and then I'll open the Channel Mana, because that's still channeling mana. I'm going to set up a Demean for next turn. But Vindictively strike the enemy twice. And in fact set it up to get cast early next turn as well. There we go. Unfortunately, the enemy is going to hit their state phase transition here. So perhaps I should leave my Vitality and extra Candle until next turn. Channel Mana into Crescendo twice. That'll cast Vindictive for the rest of the damage we need. I do want Reclamation to auto-cast at the start of the next turn. I can do that by just investing 9 into it. And in fact, that'll even set up Crescendo with the 3 to auto-cast on the next turn also. So I'll take no damage. But you, my friend, you're gonna have a bad time. 46 to the Crescendo immediately, another 10 due to 3 stacks of Pox. All Vitality die, that goes into Fragmentize. Perfect. I can channel mana from Fragmentize into other things. In fact, I'm going to be easily able to cast all of the spells this turn. I want to make sure that I cast all of the wound-related things. That's going to be all of the charges of my spells used up here at the end. I've got 74 block. This is going to be another light turn. As our enemy only has 45 damage they can take in this life cycle right now. Continue channeling mana into Reclamation though, that will get it done. In fact, I'll set up both Crescendo and Vindictive Strike to immediately cast after this is done, and I'll get Reclamation closer to casting as well. Oh no, the enemy is doing an 18 by 3. That is actually kind of potent. That said, they are going to make it to that turn as well. Courtesy of not having enough charges worth of damage to be able to take him out, but also I've got 122 block and they're now only doing 33 damage. I'm not going to be able to damage myself enough to be able to trigger Vindictive Strike. Sorry, to be able to win this fight with only 1 health without triggering Vindictive Strike. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll just take you out with it then. That'll do it. Goodbye, Arcanax. Swift, win a combat in the first turn. Only 1. We did kill 10 enemies with Banefire. Unfortunately, we didn't kill a boss in the first turn, unlocking another artifact. But we do pick up a spell in the Tome of Offense, and it's Eruption. 6 countdown, 2 times a turn, deal 4 damage, increased by 4 for each unused dice. Interesting. Unrestorable. We are going to be playing Lapis again in the next cycle, but for the moment, my name is Rhapsody, the name of the game has been SpellRogue. Top left is a series playlist for all of my content on the game past, present, and future. YouTube recommendation is down below. Streaming pass are the names of the people so generously supporting the Republic on patreon.com/RhapsodyPlays. Out of the thank you, and a special thanks this episode to Cold Hard. Hopefully you all have been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you all next time.